Hey, this is Sifu Gus. Just wanted to share something with you. In 21 years this year, we've only had 14 adult black sashes. And because village fighting, you have to dig down deep. Not that you don't have to dig down deep in other styles of training, but it is on the 4 levels: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And you get attacked quite a bit, and all your insecurities and all your fears come up. And so that's why I say in the village, you were made, right? You didn't come in with a group of talent. So I want to share a story with you. So I want to share with you one of my greatest Chan teachers. In the village, we say we need the world because the information that we gather in the village, you should be able to go out in the world and utilize it. And that's what should happen. So I had this lady comes in, and her daughter was in the program. She asked if she could join the Kung Fu program. She thought it would be fun. And I'm like, oh, fun, okay. All right, probably some of my higher sashes probably wouldn't describe it as fun, but that's okay. So I asked her if she ever trained. She goes, no, I never done anything athletic. I'm pretty much a computer geek. So she comes in and she does class, and her first day on the floor for village fighting, I go to, we work hand-to-hand combat, and we don't throw fast, but we throw so you'll know what to do if a person throws a punch at you. And that's part of the Zen training, believe it or not. So I go to throw a punch, I haven't even thrown it yet, and she falls on the floor in tears. And so I walk over to her and I go, are you okay? She goes, oh my God, you hit me so hard. And this goes to show you how the brain can play a trick. And I kind of looked around to the classroom and I go, did I throw the punch and not know it? And they go, no, you didn't do anything. However, I saw something in this person from the beginning. And one of the things in the village is it doesn't matter whether I see it in you, you have to see it in yourself. And the art pushes you on these levels. And most people say, I'm just going to push the physical extreme. But we say that's the easy part. And we say that, of course, jokingly, partially joking. But when you start getting to the emotional part of who you are as a person and your demons and all those things, that's when it really, really gets hard. And we have to see it under stress. So this person came in after that experience, she got back up, and this person just suffered failure after failure after failure. And she just, looked at me one day and go, well, maybe I'm just the one person you can't teach. And I go, well, let's test that theory. But then also I had a student who was an educator at the same time says, maybe you can't teach her. Maybe her learning abilities have to go toward another thing that you don't have as an instructor. Now, I didn't take that personal, because if you know me, I don't really take things personal. I just looked at this student of mine, high rank, very respected. I said, you get her to the party dressed and ready, which means her black sash test. Of course, a few weeks later, the student walks back up and says, you take her back. She is absolutely out of her mind. But I saw fire in this person. And I always say you cannot forget about the frame. We're in a time right now where the way a person look must be the way the person are. That's not true. In the village, we cut down to the deeper essentials of who you are as a person. And I saw nothing but fighter in this person. Fighter in this person. I saw it from the beginning. So for those who know me and who have trained with me for a longer period of time, I'm a pretty nice guy and I don't scream and yell. As an instructor, my job is to give you what your needs are to grow. That's the whole purpose of our art, is to take you from one place to go to another. Now, by the way, just so you know, this person was in probably her mid-40s by this time when she was training. So it wasn't an easy task. And she suffered, like I said, suffered failure and she suffered injury. And I'm pretty sure everyone around her was telling her, you are absolutely out of your mind to keep doing this. Why would you keep doing this? Why would you put yourself through this? But fighters look at things different. True warriors look at things different. They don't look at it like everyone else. So she came in and she started having some success. Well, the problem with some people with success, they start getting a little bit arrogant and a little bit cocky, and she fell into this category. So as a warrior, she didn't really know what this was. I mean, she had a pretty crazy upbringing, so she didn't realize that she had this in her. She just always kept doing what she did, but she just thought she was weird. No big deal. welcome to the village. You come in, we're a little bit out there. Anyway, you know, every big guy, you know the guys I'm talking about, with the tattoos and the muscles, they would always tell her what to do. But what I realized as I was sitting back as her Sifu, as her instructor, I would watch her outlast these guys. I would watch her outlast them. You know, when it would get physical, she would outlast them. When it would get mental, she would outlast them. When it would get emotional, she would outlast them. When she would get spiritual, when it would get real, these big guys who were trying to tell her, well, you need to put your hand here, and you need to do this, she was outlasting them. And she didn't realize this, but I'm paying attention. I'm paying totally attention to her. And I'm like, that's the warrior I see that she doesn't know that's actually growing within her. So it's time for me to put more pressure on her. So the cocky incident, it was during a test, and she kind of just got a little mouthy, and I said, okay, good. So the next time we were in class, I lined everyone in the class up. I go, if you want to get your next sash, you got to get through everybody. And we put the pressure. Because anybody knows me, knows that you cannot have growth without challenge. No challenge, no change. I don't care what anyone says. That's my belief, and that's the way we train at the village. So this is why we go, uh-oh, we got a runner, uh-oh. And we've seen it in great athletes, and we've seen it in people who have trained before. And yet this girl, this young lady, this wonderful warrior was just outlasting. And she goes, I'm nothing. I've never done a sport before. I don't know. I've never done a martial art before. I've never done. And she just gave me every excuse on how bad she felt about herself, but she didn't see what I saw. And that's my job as an instructor. So one of the things about this young lady that I like, she was often funny. She always brought a sense of humor, but she also drove the other Black Sashes crazy at certain times. And I'm like, the fact that you take it this serious tells me what you're going to be able to do. But our lessons were not done yet. These are lessons that I couldn't even predict it, right? And she just met them and met them and met them to the point of, we were talking about a person when she first came in, I would simulate a punch and she would fall on the ground in tears. She's now finding the biggest guy in the class going, can we work out, please? I need to grow. I need to learn. She's throwing her body, hit me. I don't care how hard you hit me. She just loved it, almost to where it scared us a little bit. It's like, okay, she's liking this a little too much. One of the things I learned in this, in our style, is about how resilient you can be if you're willing to face your fears. Everyone says this when they come in. I've heard it so many times. Sifu guys, I can't wait to be the greatest Black Sash. I can't wait to be the greatest Sifu. And then it gets real. And then that's when we see the runners. And once again, it doesn't matter if you've trained in a martial art before or if you have, you're a great athlete. Now, her partner, by the way, was a stud. Is a stud still, basically. Trained hard, grit nose, hardcore. And he is like, I'm not going to make excuses. And I'm not going to make excuses for you because you're a female who's never done athletic stuff before. Grit is grit and grind is grind. And either you're going to do it or you're going to not do it. But I am moving forward. That was his mentality, and I just loved it. I soaked it up. That's kind of where I am in my head. I loved it. And one of the things I always tell my students, just so you know, I teach nothing that people can't do. Everything I teach, anyone can do. But it depends on how deep you want to dig within yourself. So now we have story after story. For those who don't know anything about the village, in our 14 Black Sashes, most of them are women. And these women are getting hit and thrown around. And come into the village, you'll find many of stories. These stories just don't stop. But these Chan teachers, for me, were good. Because when I first started teaching martial art, I had big guys and young guys and this and that. And then I started getting housewives. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I'm going to grow from this. So with this particular person, though, I was like, oh. And I think we both were challenged that way. And I loved it. I always tell people I can train anybody who has an open heart and who want to train. People tell me they have an open heart until it gets real. And then we see where their true open heart is. And that's what I found out with people in general, by the way, just so you know. But with this young lady, and then she has stories. She has so many stories that she should be proud of. If she ever hears this video, she should be proud of herself because she accomplished something that most people would not go through. And so I'm gonna forward the story to where we're closer to the end. Now she's getting on the road for her Black Sash training. And she looks at me, she wanted to have a meeting. So she comes and we meet at this park and she's just in full-blown tears. I don't think I can make it, Sifu. I don't think I can do it. Now I'm in public with people and I'm like, uh-oh, do they think I'm, I said something or I'm abusing her or something like that? And then I stopped her, I go, stop. I go, do you want it? She goes, more than anything in this world. With that being said, I told her, I said, good, then let's get to work. I don't want to do the talking because all these motivational speeches, they wither away when it gets hard. So your heart is what I look at, and I knew her heart. I knew what she wanted, and I knew what to do. My Black Sashes just looked and said, we're going to have to trust you as a Sifu because we don't know what to give her, And I knew what to give her. She's an awesome person. And I love people like this because, yeah, I had to break the stallion. I had to break her a little bit because she had to understand what her potential was. And once again, her story gets crazier. It's so nuts what happens. So for those who don't know, our Black Sash test isn't 9 days or 66 hours. It's nothing like that. But it is brutal. It is brutal. And it is physical and it is mental. And it is every mental game that we can play. We play every emotional game. I want to poke the balloon to see how loud it pops. I want to see what happens. And from a spiritual side, if you were in full harmony, then they all work together at the same time, not one part overworked the other. They all work at the same time. So in this young lady, once again, who's never trained in martial arts, who's never done sports, at a high level, we're pushing her. We are pushing her. And she is hitting the ground, falling, she's looking up, she's at me, and I'm like, keep fighting. Keep fighting. Because for those, I'm not a hardcore instructor, I don't think I am at least, but I do not let people lower the bar. We do not, our standards are high. That's the only reason why we have 14. I know, I'm never gonna be a millionaire doing this, I know that. But my heart, my love is into what I teach. And I want people good. That's my sole goal. So in her training, now she's on the road to preparing for her Black Sash test. And I don't know exactly the timeline where this was, but she's training with a gentleman who gets a new cup. We wear grain protectors in village fighting. But he gets a metal cup and he didn't say anything to anybody. So she goes and she tags him, bam! And she breaks her hand. And this is right before test, And so here's what I mean about a warrior. Village fighters, we don't make excuses, we figure it out. And that's what you're supposed to do. This is what helps us in life with everything. So what she did is she goes, you know what? She came in with her cast on. She goes, I'll work with one hand. I'll work with one hand. And she worked it and worked it and worked it and got the cast off, went back to her training. And I'm like, she impresses me. It's just now I'm impressed. I just want to see what happened. And by the way, just because she's doing well, I pushed her a little more. Not extreme, but more. I want to see if she could, where is her line at, right? And the more I gave her, the more she loved it. And I'm like, okay, that's just weird. Now, she probably wouldn't say that, but this is what I'm sitting back and I'm watching. So anybody who knows this person knows that, oh my God, she shed quite a few tears on our floor, which our stories aren't unique. There's thousands of martial arts studios who do this same kind of stuff, who keep their standards high. So this person just was in tears and tears. So now we're at the day of the Black Sash test. So one of my Kung Fu brothers walk in. And this is a highly respected, he's not only a combat Kung Fu master in Kung Fu San Soo, he's also a judo master at the same time. And one of the things this young lady had to do is throw on a test. Now, he had never been to any of our tests. So all of a sudden, he shows up that day with his stuff ready to go. So we're sitting, I put him on the panel thinking, he could watch and hopefully they won't be terrible. So her and this athlete who they've come through the ranks together, right? And and he's like, we can do this. And she's like, okay. He's like, come on, we can do this. So they're testing. They're going at it. It's grueling. It's never pretty. It's just doable. And then my Kung Fu brother says to me, he goes, can I throw? And I'm like, yeah, sure, you can. And he gets out there and she realizes what's about to happen. She goes, crap. And then she turns out. And this is what I mean about growth. So he starts throwing at her. And she does the weirdest thing. As she's throwing him and taking him down and hitting him, she's smiling all at the same time. All at the same time. So now we went from a person, when stress happened, she fell apart, to now stress is happening again, and she's smiling through it. She changed her thinking. That's what the art does. But you don't get that from being easy or simple task. So when my brother showed up, I was a little skeptical myself. I'm like, I hope they don't fall apart. And I want to share that story because it's not only about this person, it's about why to challenge yourself with certain things. People come into our village all the time and they experience something as challenging. Oh, it's not for me. See, for me, I'm a little bit different. My life has been not the easiest thing, so I've always wanted to try to, in my older years, because I took the easy way out when I was younger, and in my older years, I want to challenge myself. So at, half a century old, I still push myself on the floor with the 20-year-old guys and go to the gym and different things like that, and it is a lifestyle. And that is Zen. That story is Zen. That's what people don't think. People say, well, I'm going to sit and meditate. That's Zen too. But the change that happens is what I love. So have a beautiful day.